my friends. I hope that you had a wonderful Easter last weekend, where the gospel passage proclaimed by the church is the account of Mary of Magdala, the other women going to the tomb to anoint the body of Jesus, only to be met by an angel, God's messenger, who proclaims to them the joyful news that Jesus is not there in the tomb. He is risen, just as he said. The gospel passage for this weekend is the account where the disciples in the Gospel of John are in an upper room, we're told. They are huddled in fear. The doors are locked. And it's into this situation of despair and doubt that the disciples are experiencing. This situation where to have been with Jesus in his public ministry was to be filled with hope, with comfort. The heady days of witnessing his cures and miracles seem to be gone. The disciples are worried. They're worried about what the future holds for them. And quite frankly, they're worried about their own safety and fears of reprisals for being associated with this Jesus of Nazareth, who proclaimed himself the Christ, the one sent to initiate the kingdom of God in this world. It's in this situation that Jesus appears to them through the heavy wooden locked door with a body that's like his body that they experienced in his public ministry, but also different, no longer subject to the limitations of physical space and time. He confirms his identity by showing them his wounds, the sign of his complete identification with us in all of our fragility, in his identification with the injustice and violence that we experience. Jesus subjects himself to. But now the joy of vindication, not only of who Jesus is, but his cause of initiating and establishing the kingdom of God in this world. After showing them his wounds, we're told that he breathes on them. It's a strange thing to do in a sense, isn't it? But it's such a powerful image of God, the creative breath of God. Just as God breathed on the waters and he created men and women in the book of Genesis by breathing life, Jesus now desires to breathe life into this huddled group of fearful disciples and recreate them in the power of his compassion, his forgiveness, and his love. His word to them is not one of recrimination or disappointment. His word is shalom, be at peace. All is well, and all will be well. The gospel passage, I think, is very comforting for us at this time when so many people are fearful, maybe not feeling the nearness and the presence of God, worried about so many things, about the coronavirus, the fear of getting it, the fear of spreading it, fears of unemployment that are very real. It's into all these fears that we need to remember that Jesus is our brother who has shared our life completely, even to the point of death, and he is Lord, the one with power over all the enemies of human life. So Jesus walks with us at this time of fear and uncertainty. And just as he commissioned the disciples after speaking to them that word of peace, it was meant not only for them, but for them to be living, walking witnesses to Christ and what he stands for, about how we should be and act in the world. And so at a time, I think, when many people could be tempted to greed and worry only about themselves, Jesus continues to call us to that other-centered life, that other-focused life of witnessing to Christ and bearing his love and compassion and care into the world. At the end of her life, St. Hildegard of Bingen, a German mystic, she said this, which I thought is very striking. She said, "There's nothing to fear. The resurrection of Jesus assures us that in the end, all is well, and all shall be well, and every manner of being shall be well." It's our trust in that promise of Christ, that he is with us, that as we live in between the comings of Jesus, and we look for that final coming, God will be all in all, we must continue to bear witness to Jesus. And on this Divine Mercy Sunday, I firmly believe that Jesus longs for nothing more than to really dispel our fears and give us true freedom and peace in the midst of all of our uncertainties, knowing that he is the risen Lord, the one present to us, the one with power over sickness, over suffering, and over death. God bless you, and continued Easter blessing.